Hi, Delusion Dispeller back again with my little friend here, Moki. This is my baby, one of my babies. I actually have four babies, but they're all kind of grown up, other than my youngest who's just turning 13. The other ones are adults. All three of my adult children are off on their own. So, and I have one granddaughter and a step grandson. So I'm really blessed. This is Moki, my beautiful gray kitty. And it's funny because when my fiance, I'm going to tell you a quick little story, when we bought these two kitties, or not bought them, picked them up, he fell in love with this one, Momo, who was just a little tiny scrawny thing. And then Kara Kitty was my kitty. She had long hair and she was beautiful. Well, this kitty Momo, as she got older, just kind of decided to take a liking to me. My foster mom says cats pick their owners, or animals and pets pick their owners. I think that's true. Anyway, um, this is Moki. And Moki always has to be in my arms as often as possible. So here she is trying to cuddle with me while I'm making a video. So you'll have to just kind of tolerate the little Momo up in my arms. I know some people say it's distracting, and I'm sorry if it's distracting to you, but it's my baby, and she wants to be up in my arms, and I have time. I don't mind putting her in my arms, but there she is, to join me for the rest of this video, or however long she decides to stay in my arms. Okay, now, the next part is feel entitled. Well, I keep getting cat hairs in my mouth. What's going on? Narcissists definitely feel entitled. There's no doubt about that one. They think that the world owes them a living and then some. My ex-husband was very shocked when he got a ticket for speeding at one point. He literally thought that somehow that police officer would let him go. Why? I don't know. He just thought so. He thought he was above the law. He thought he could break the law without getting caught. He often cheated the welfare system, and he would take jobs like under the table and things like that, and justify it, saying that the government owes him money anyways, and since he works, he pays his taxes, so it's his money, so he can do what he wants. Female narcissists, as far as entitlement goes, I told the story before about how we went to the dinner the one time, and because they did not pull out the red carpet and put her right up front in her chairs, she had a big old fit about it. And she said, well, they should have known we were coming. They should know that they invited us as guests, and this is not how you treat a guest. We should have been first and foremost considered. And I was like, oh, please, seriously, we aren't the Queen of England or something, you know? But she felt that way. I think she still does feel that way, probably. I don't know. I haven't seen her in years. But yeah, it was just kind of odd for me to see somebody acting so spoiled and tight as that. Um, Flirtatious. Yeah, she. I don't think she intentionally wanted to be flirtatious, because she would kind of dress in a way I think that attracted guys, and then resent the guys for being attracted to her. Kind of odd. As far as my ex goes, he's still flirting. I mean, yeah, we're divorced, but even before, when we were still married, he was flirting with people on the internet, because I would see the internet sites come up and names that I didn't recognize are women, and he'd add women to his Facebook and stuff like that. And I knew it was not a godly thing he was doing. It was flirting and attraction, and the type of language you would use with somebody you're trying to lure in. So yeah, there was definitely flirtatious and seductive um, attitudes in both narcissists. Grandiose. Oh, that's a fun one. My ex-husband was very grandiose in what he thought. His was get rich quick scheme. We're going to be the next millionaire if we sell these health products. We're going to live in a mansion. Wouldn't you like a mansion and a brand new car and a built-in pool? I can give you that if we could just get this business off the ground. We'll be the next so-and-so, whatever the big name guru was that was making it big in the home-based business at the time. As far as grandiose with the female, I told you about that story too, about how she said she was going to preach someday in a coliseum, and she was going to come in a hot air balloon on a motorcycle, and ride out of the hot air balloon on a motorcycle in front of everybody. So yeah, grandiose. And it's a common one in narcissists anyways. They have very dysfunctional thinking, delusions, and things like that about how life is really going to be or is. Um, it's hard to have hard to have a good time with. Yeah, it is very hard to have good times with my ex because he would make things very miserable. If I was having too much fun laughing, he would yell at me. He'd yell at the kids and say, "It's not funny. Stop laughing," because he was driving, and he just hated laughter. He hated being around anybody having fun unless he was producing the fun. In fact, he painted himself as Daddy Dearest to my kids to the point that even now I'm looked at as the crazy one, the bad one, the one who left him, the one who ruined things, that kind of thing. So, yeah, he was hard to have a good time with because he always made me out to be the bad guy, made me look like the ungrateful snob, made me look like the bad parent, the neglectful parent. I'm not saying I was always the perfect parent or that I didn't sometimes neglect my kids, because there was a time period when I was trying to emotionally escape the torment of living in this type of marriage that I did neglect my kids. I was on the computer. I was a cyber addict, you could say. I was fixing other people's problems online and ignoring my own because I didn't know how to fix my own, with a guy that would not cooperate, would not go to counseling, and if he did go to counseling, would convince the counselors that I was the problem. So, yeah, I was not always a good parent. Was the narcissistic female hard to have a good time with? There were times she was fun, and then there were times the tide would turn suddenly, and she'd get real serious, and if I didn't turn with her tide, then she wasn't so fun anymore. She was angry, and she couldn't understand why I didn't adjust that quickly to the change in atmosphere. But I don't adjust quickly. Maybe it's my own battle with bipolar or what it is, I don't know. But if I'm in one mode of perception and it suddenly changes the atmosphere around me, I sometimes take a little while to adjust to it. At the time I stayed with her in her house, when we were trying to get ready to supposedly take a mission trip, I had run out of my medicine, so I was kind of lethargic and I was slower than normal, and I wasn't quite grasping some of the things she asked me to do, and she'd get very, very angry with me. And she made it hard to have a good time with her. She did a lot of things that she knew bothered me purposely, to test me, and I failed the test because I don't react well when I'm being subject to torment purposely for somebody to test me. So yeah, that was a hard thing. They hate to live alone. I think that's pretty true because my ex-husband lives with his sister, and he did live alone for a little while, and all he did was sleep. He went into a deep depression and pretty much was going to curl up and die. He had no reason to live anymore, I guess, because his narcissistic supply sources were all gone. My daughter that was going to live with him decided to live with her boyfriend instead. Gee, I wonder why. And my other two daughters had already moved out, and my youngest daughter came with me, so he had nobody. He didn't stay in the house alone very long. He moved in with his sister, which is where he has lived since then, working for my former brother-in-law that owns a shop. So anyways, no, he didn't like being alone. Hard to be alone when there's nobody to control or nobody to mirror you, because then you feel like you have no sense of self, because other people are yourself. They're the self that you're trying to figure out what's underneath all that. Who am I supposed to portray myself to be? As far as the woman went, she was never alone. As far as I know, she had an ex-husband before her current husband, and she was with her parents before that. So I don't think she could handle being alone. Again, she needed a mirror to tell her how she was supposed to act, what she was supposed to feel, how she was supposed to react, was she supposed to cry, was she supposed to laugh. It's like she really she wasn't in touch with how she felt, what she knew about things, and she always imitated other people, even in her knowledge, even in her preaching. She was a mimic, and you could find a lot of her messages elsewhere. She didn't come up with them on her own, obviously. She did have an interesting perception in how she presented things. I will give that to her. I loved listening to her because she was just very refreshing in the different perceptions she shared. But other than that, Yeah, she's a copy. Anyway, stay tuned for the next video. God bless.